Yo, this is your boy Willet Thrills and Flips here for another Willet Reacts Wednesdays. I am reacting to the Las Vegas Raiders. I had Oakland Raiders hit my mind for a second. Shows you how long I've been around. Las Vegas Raiders, y'all. This is our draft, our total 10 draft picks. Definitely had to do some researches on some of these guys. For those that saw my mock draft where I did no trades, which is probably the more accurate of what I would do as a GM. You know, not saying I am, and definitely don't know as much about football as real general managers, but the only pick I had that was the same and the one that I feel like would be the most reasonable that I would have done was Fernando Mendoza. Everything else was way, way different. Which we're going to compare. A lot of the draft grades came out from, all the different analysts and such. A's, A minuses, B pluses, but overall, really positive. So, of course, pick overall was Fernando Mendoza. We traded back from 36 to 38 for trading Stukes. There was a lot of unhappiness that we moved back and didn't get Caden McDonald, but the thing is from what I'm hearing, he was not a fit for our scheme. So you don't take someone based on talent if they don't fit the scheme. If any of you guys remember, cornerback D'Angelo Hall, great corner, didn't fit our scheme, was horrible, was gone within, if I remember right, a season or two. We paid him loads of money. He didn't fit our scheme. Another prime example, Nnamdi Asomugha. Great in our scheme. Put him man-to-man, put him on his island, owns it. Gets traded to the Eagles. They put him in, I believe it's zone, where he's got safety help. Horrible. Played horrible. It's not his scheme. Talent does not override scheme fit. So If it's true that, what's his name, Caden McDonald, defensive tackle, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, if he was not a true scheme fit, you get the guy that is, Traden Stukes. So, and he can play multiple positions. They say he can play corner, he can play safety, so you get the versatile guy that fits your scheme. I was scratching my head about pick 3 here, 67, K'Ron Crawford. I hope I'm saying your first name right. I was very, very unsure about that pick until we traded pick 150 for Tyree Wilson. Then it made all the sense in the world. So then I wasn't quite as mad because he's being graded as a true pass rusher, which we all know Tyree Wilson isn't. Was he stout against the run? Sure. He was a little too inconsistent for my liking, so that made all the sense in the world. Trey Zune, I'm hearing good things about. Apparently he might knock off one of the right guards or tackles or something, so who knows. Jermon McCoy, heck of a pick. Fell to the 4th round, guys. The Neath situation is a little scary. It sounds like if all goes to plan, he could have 4 to 5 good years. Then he's going to require surgery, sounds like. And if the surgery apparently doesn't go successful, it sounds like it's the end of his career. So that kind of stinks. But we'll see what happens there. Was at his pro day. He's ready. We'll just see what happens with the knee surgery. Hopefully it's Max's surgeon that's working on him, and hopefully they can work some magic. Running back Mike Washington Jr. Again, definitely need to not have Genty just getting beat up all season long. Keep him fresh, keep each other fresh. I feel like our undrafted Frazier from Indiana, the running back that's used to work with Fernando, I feel like if you kind of even could work in those three, just keep each other fresh, keep the defenses tired. Pick 150 that we got from Tyree, we took another safety who's also versatile, Dalton Johnson, so really working on the secondary here. The thing I love is getting versatile players that can switch around. You don't have to sub in certain players that maybe can't play nickel corner and they could only play safety, and then it gives away what you're doing. This is going to allow, not Patrick Graham, oh my god, what is his name? Leonard, defensive coordinator, Leonard. This lets him be creative. He can disguise better. He's just going to make everything better. I forget his name. Masses, cornerback. I'm not even going to try to butcher your first name out of respect. So Masses, cornerback, again, that sounds like another solid secondary piece. Malik Benson, I liked his tape. I watched some of his tape. It seemed like he was very good with his hands, very strong catcher, so we'll see what happens. And then Brandon Cleveland, defensive tackle. I'm going to be honest, I haven't looked into him yet. I'm not going to act like I know him and that he's the savior. That was a name I wasn't familiar with. I wasn't familiar with a lot of these guys, to tell you the truth. I knew, I think the only ones I truly knew of was, of course, Fernando. I heard some things about Jermon McCoy, and that was about it, but they weren't guys I drafted, so one pick out of the 10 was matched to mine, which I'm going to show you now. So alright, so I had to move the screen a little bit, so it's going to look a little funky, but it's the only way I can make it work. So, of course, well, let's at least see how well things matched up player-wise that I drafted. Of course, Fernando Mendoza, first overall pick, A+. I went wide receiver way earlier, Denzel Boston. B+, I just felt like we needed the influence of talent. So, B+, went safety. He was also very versatile from what I remember when I was picking him, so B-. So, kind of had that same idea. Versatile, secondary help, so I was happy to see that. I did double dip into wide receiver. It was a reach, but I just wanted familiarity for Fernando, so that was my thought process there. I'm going to scoot this down from my other picks. This is my no trade draft. If you want to see me going through the whole draft process and my decision making, check out the video. It will say no trades. I had another one where I could accept trades, which I only accepted one, I believe. And then I had one where I had to accept a trade every original pick. So that was so hard. So I recommend checking it out. It was just entertaining if you're a draft buff like me that likes draft content. We did not go... So, actually, no. Yes, we did. So, instead of Zune, I went for Isaiah World, but still addressed the O-line. Went for corner, Devin Marshall, B-. I got an edge, and they got an edge. So, they did not go... Actually, did we? Did we get him undrafted? No, we didn't get him. Somebody else did, I believe. But I went tight end. Again, more weapons for Fernando. I did get a running back later. It wasn't graded very well. I didn't really know him, but I did it pretty much for need. Yeah, I didn't get a running back. And then I did go DT, which got me an A. So, a little bit different, but hey. For the most part, we actually are method matched. You know, let me move it back to the first half. Because they took a wide receiver late. I took mine early. But they did get receiver, got safety. Instead of doing a second safety, I did get more of a pure quarterback. I did get my lineman, I got my edge, and then I got my running back. And then they took a running back. So, we had the same idea, just drafted different. I honestly think the way they did it was definitely better because they did get an overall better running back. Could have done without the tight end, if anything. There was a reach there. So there was I feel overall the Raiders did outperform, but this was a pretty, I don't think I would have been mad at this one either. the C plus and the C minus for Adam. I would have wanted different, but overall not bad. And we at least had the same idea of who to draft. So I give it an A. It's building solid depth that we need. The secondary needed addressed. Offensive line, I really like the addition of Zune. And then secondary is major. I feel like our line is pretty good. Linebackers are solid. That should solidify our secondary. Having good pass rush and run defense by our front line, which looks pretty nasty. Crosby, Kwity Paye. I'm not as worried about defensive tackle as I once was because we still have Adam Butler that I remembered, and news I actually heard, I believe today or yesterday, they're moving Lucky Tossie back to defensive tackle. That was a big man to be in the middle, so that could really help us out as well. So, I'm actually not quite as worried about defensive tackle now. I think they're going to be okay, especially since it's a 3-4. You just need a big space eater there, and we have it, so I think we'll be alright. So anyway, this was going to end this episode of Willet Reacts. Please continue to support the channel. Check out my content. Willet Reacts will not only be Raider related. I'll react to anything that's out there. It just so happens that I wanted to compare drafts and react to my thoughts on their draft as well. Overall, I feel like Raiders did an A. Very pleased with Kubiak and Spytek, and I hope this is the beginning of a dynasty. It's been too long, guys. I actually haven't seen them win a Super Bowl. I've seen them go to the Super Bowl, so we are due for a dynasty. We need a long Patriot-style, Chiefs-style dynasty where we're just running things. So, hit like if you want to make that happen. Let's manifest it now. Hit like and subscribe to manifest us having a dynasty and winning a Super Bowl and a ton of games. Until next time, this is your boy Willet. I'm out. Peace.